Hey everyone, good evening, and welcome to another Fix Your Focus Live. My name is Ola. Today we are talking all about things that you need to pay attention to before you start working on your next 12-week year. So, one thing I will say is you don't need willpower for this. You don't need another plan, or you do need another plan, but you don't need a better plan. What you need is a plan that's going to fit your life and also give you the ability to make less decisions. So that's what we're going to be talking about. By the end of tonight's live, my goal is to make sure that you walk away with like a clear idea of what your plan needs to look like so that you'll get clear, you'll get organized, and then you can get moving. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight in tonight's live. Now would be a great time for you to go ahead and grab your notebook. You don't need your planner for this one just yet, unless you take notes in your planner. But you want to grab your notebook and or planner, and then also your pen, because we're going to be taking notes tonight. Um, I'm excited. We're doing a little bit of some adjustments here with um, how we stream the days, the days, the times, and all that. And so let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing I will say is when we are talking about planning, when we are talking about that 12-week year or that 90-day plan. If you don't know the 12-week year plan, what the 12-week year is, I'll go ahead and do a rundown of that. The 12-week year is a format or a formula that you can use when it comes to planning, where you are focused on a very like few 1 to 3 specific goals or specific outcomes within a 12-week period, which is typically 90 days. Now, some like to do it 90 days. Some like to do it according to the calendar and do quarterly planning. However, the 12-week year formula is not quarterly planning. It's not. The 12-week year is actually, you can start it at any time. It's 12 weeks within any time frame within the calendar. So as you see up here, it doesn't have to be based off of a calendar quarter. It's based off of when you choose to start. The reason why I love this particular format is because you can start it at any time. Two, it's a solid 12-week where you focus on just those things that you've placed on, like on your mind, on your board of this is the objectives that I'm focusing on for these 12 weeks, and nothing else matters. And that helps me with focus. I find that it helps others with focusing on the moves and their inputs and their outcomes and things of that nature. So that's a rundown of the 12-week year. There's more to it, but as we go through all of the information that we're going to cover tonight and in future videos, you'll get a better idea of what the 12-week year is, and then also how I have my own kind of way of doing the 12-week year, where it's inspired by the format, but it's not exactly like the format. But if you're interested in reading the book again is called 12-Week Year. It is by Brian Moran and what is the other guy's name? Michael Lennington. I had to look back and look at the cover. Those guys. So that's the book. That's what it looks like. All right. Now, let me do a little bit of a sound check now that we've kind of done that rundown. And I want to again just set the room. If you're joining live, hey, how you doing? Let me know where you're tuning in from. Put it down in the chat below. But if you are actually tuning in the replay, hey, replay fam, goodness gracious, hey, replay fam, make sure you let me know that you're tuning in. So go ahead and put replay fam in the comments down below. And then I'll be sure to come back to you and shout you out and say hello and all of those good things. Um, Give me 2 seconds. We need to make sure we have a good sound check. Okay. Yep, we're good. All right. So, um, let's start off with the first thing that you want to do when you're doing any type of planning, whether it's quarterly planning, it is 12-week planning, it is 90-day planning, whatever type of planning that you are choosing to do. You want to always start off with knowing why you are doing, like, why does this plan matter? What I have found is that if you don't know why your plan matters, then you're not going to really stick to it. By the time the next week comes around, or the second week, or even when friction starts to happen with your planning, you're it's likely that you will give up. I'm not going to tell you that you're going to give up, because you're not this time, because we're doing this together. But if you are not clear on the reason why the plan matters, then when you're operating within the plan, when you're taking the steps, if you can't clearly define why it matters, when friction comes, you're going to fall off. We fall off when we have workout plans. We fall off when we have plans that take us out of our comfort zone. And so being able to have a clear understanding of why it matters. Now, in 90 days, what you want to do is you want to ask yourself in 90 days, what is it that I want to accomplish? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want my life to feel like? What do I want to feel like? What do I want to look like? Depending on what your goals are. Some ideas would be maybe you want to be healthier. You may want to have more money, maybe less clutter, less stress. Maybe you want to serve more people. Maybe you want to learn a new skill. Maybe you want to have a new home. Maybe you want to move a new home, start a new process in getting a new home. Maybe you want a new job, start the process and, getting a new job. Maybe you want more excitement. If you're married, maybe you want more date nights. If you have a family, maybe you want to have more family dates or more family time. If you are juggling both business and a job or career and whatever else is hanging up over here and whatever else is hanging up over here, you want to see if you want to make sure you can have time for all of them. Maybe not balance, because I'm not a person to say you need to have balance. I am more so you want everything to be in harmony. That I'm team harmony. I'm not team balance. And then maybe you want more help. So maybe you want to look into hiring help. Maybe you want less burden. Maybe there's something where, maybe you need a better team or you want to build up your team and things of that nature. So just think of those things. Your why, it should have a metric to it. So one thing you want to do is you want to make sure that whatever the reason why you're doing something or the reason why you have like this plan, you want to make sure you have a metric that you can actually monitor the actual plan against. Okay. So any one of these or something else that you come up with, you want to make sure that you have a metric that goes with it. Then you also want to end this particular exercise. And here, let me share my screen so I can show you a format that you can use. All right. So here we have the strategic 90-day clarity map. This is a clarity map that I offer. If you want a copy of this, you can go ahead and click the link in the description box. You can grab a copy of it. But one of the things you want to do when you're figuring out your why, because anything we do, again, we need to have a reason and why we're doing it. We need to be clear about that. You want to have your vision. You want to have your mission. You also want to know your values. But then you want to get into if you were celebrating 90 days from now, what 3 wins would make you proud? Okay. So we're starting with what is it that we're looking for at the end of these 90 days? So, what is it? And then also identify why they matter. That's step 3. So we're kind of moving through this fast. But again, if you grab this particular map in this link in the link below, then you'll be able to go through the exercise. It's very easy, as you can see. But you want to identify why do they matter. And what I have learned, I'm going to give you this tip here. You want to be very clear. So you want to be able to name your why in 7 words or less. If you can't name it, if you can't say it in a sentence, if you can't name it in 7 words or less, then you're going to forget by the time week 2 rolls around, because it's going to be all kind of convoluted up here and it won't be able to come out here. So that's why you want to be able to say it in a simple sentence, 7 words or less. The reason why this plan matters, the reason why these next 90 days matter. Okay. Once you've done that, we're going to go into step 2. So that was step 1. We're going to go into step 2, and that is killing old habits. It is very important that you kill old habits and you kill them with intention. Sometimes we'll say, yeah, I'm going to, let go of this habit. Or actually, more often than not, we're focusing on how can I start new habits? How often are you actually asking yourself, what habits do I need to kill? What and they're bad habits. So we want to kill them. It's not even just a let's stop. No, we want to kill it altogether so it never comes back. So we want to kill these old habits. So what I would recommend is that you make a kill, keep, and start list. It is a kill, keep, and start list. Now, I also identify these as roadblocks. So let's show that piece. So these are also roadblocks. That kill, keep, and start list, the kill is the roadblocks. You want to identify those because those are obstacles that can stop you. Those are obstacles that are going to get in your way. When we talk about progress, progress is subtraction first. So these are the things that you're going to subtract. So some of the things that you may have, maybe you're tab hopping after work. Now I don't know about you, but when I talk about hopping, I'm talking about you have all the tabs open on your computer. And like right now, if I look, I have maybe a good 6 open, but maybe you have more and you're just clicking, clicking, clicking. And don't let it be something where you were shopping and it led to another link, which led to another link, which led to another link, right? And you're essentially just wasting time. You're passing the time by. Sometimes we call it decompressing. And sometimes it's justifiable to be decompressing, but let's be honest with ourselves, it's not always a decompression moment. So tab hopping after work, maybe you'll start writing your plan or you'll have your plan written, Saturday, Sunday, maybe even Monday. And by the time Thursday comes around, you find that you didn't do anything. So you're rewriting your list all over again. You're rewriting your to-do list all over again. Or maybe you're rewriting the same list from last week this week because you didn't get anything done last week. Keep that in mind. These are habits that you're wanting to kill. Maybe you're saying yes without checking your availability. You're saying yes before you even check your calendar. You want to stop doing that because you want to make sure that you have enough time, not only for you, but for everything else. Remember all those things we was talking about, all those areas that we're trying to find harmony? You need to make sure you have harmony in all those places. So we want to look at that. So again, you want to remove the 2 biggest leaks. So find out what the 2 biggest leaks, the 2 bad habits, are the biggest bad habits, the most atrocious habits that you have, and kill them. Another example could be maybe you're not getting up and working out when you should. Kill that and start getting up and working out. So that is the kill list. Now, our second list is going to be the keep list. Now, if you're still following me, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Like, okay, I'm tracking. I'm making my kill list. I got it. We're working. Look, hold on. Wait a second. Let me know. But go ahead and let's start with your keep list. So when we're talking about your keep list, this is going to be things that you want to continue to do. Not that you're starting to do. These are things that you want to continue to do. So one of them would be maybe you know that at the end of your work week or maybe even at the end of your work night, certain days of the week, you know that you're dedicating, let's say 2 hours to working on or in your business. You want to keep those. That's a keep list definitely because you want to build your business. We're about building our businesses here. So you're going to keep that piece. Maybe you are doing a weekly live stream. That is something you're going to want to keep. Maybe you are having a weekly planning meeting, maybe Fridays or Sundays, whatever day that you are choosing to plan, whether it's for business, it's for home, it's for work, whatever the case is, you want to make sure that you're keeping that in play. You don't want to let go of those good habits because those good habits is what's going to help you get to the next level. So we're going to keep that. Those are on the keep list, okay? Keep list. So next, we are going to do the start list. Now, these are things that you're not doing now, but you want to start doing them. And you want to start doing them because they're going to help you move the needle to get closer to whatever that overarching goal is. And yes, I just did this. Oh, goodness. So, yes, look, we're going to do this together. These are the overarching goal. This is what we want. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. So, the start list. Now, one thing I will say that everyone should have as their start is to create a not now list. Sometimes it's called a parking lot. Sometimes it's called a dream board. Whatever the case is, it's a not now list. These are things that are going to be on your list that you are not doing right now because it's not related to the initial objective that you have in mind for these 12 weeks. Again, for these 12 weeks, we're putting blinders on. So listen, we're putting blinders on. We're putting blinders on. We don't see nothing. We don't hear nothing. It's all about what's going on for the next 12 weeks. And whatever we have documented that is going to be our goal, that is what we are focused on. All right. So that not now list, that is something you're going to want to keep because as things come up, you're going to get all these grand ideas. It's amazing what happens when you're in a focused flow. because you get all the great, grand ideas, and it may not be for you to implement right at that second, but it's definitely something for you to take note of. So put it on your not now list so that when you're done with the 12 weeks, you'll have something to pull from for your next 90-day plan. All right. So then also a nightly reset routine. I think this is amazing. Um, I like to have actually a couple of routines. So the routines are for you. That is one thing I will say. Anything that you have that is something that you do on a consistent basis that would create a routine, that is for you. That is for you to level set. That is for you to create a baseline. That is for you to put your mind in the right frame because you know what's coming up. Like for me, I work full time. I have my business on the side, also homeschool, also have a whole family, right? And so when I'm at work, I have a routine that I do when I get to the office that puts me in the like 9 to 5 job mode. Like that is what I do. I have a lamp, I have a little scent, a little what is it? Those little wax warmers. There we go. I have a wax warmer, I have a little timer. Um like the little hourglass things. And just when I first come in the office, I'm clicking on my light, I'm turning on that scent, that wax warmer, I'm flipping over my timer. And no, it's not a timer for all day, but I really like hourglasses. So that's something like I have them here. I have them at my job in the office and all that. So you flip that over, let that sand start. Um, I also have a calendar that I have. So I flip that to the correct date and then I turn on my computer and we get started for the day. That is my routine when I'm getting into the office. That kind of helps me get into the mode of, okay, I'm at work now. Like I finish with, the time or the travel and all of that. We're at work now. But you want to also have a night routine. Maybe your night routine consists of you journaling. Maybe you are reviewing your day, reviewing your planner, figuring out what you complete, what do you still need to do, make those adjustments. Maybe it's like you shower and you have a whole shower routine. Maybe it's you have Bible study and you have that whole routine. All of those things help put you in a certain frame of mind. So figure out what it is that you need to do to put you in a nightly, like you're in your nightly routine, especially if it's the bedtime nightly routine, because you want to put yourself in the mode to go to sleep, not to wake up, not to get your mind racing and running. And sometimes our minds are already, racing and running. Mine is, but I've been able to create a routine where it's okay. We click out that light. We know what time it is. We don't listen. We do all the little actions that we need to do so that our brain knows, okay, we are getting ready to go to bed. So keep that in mind. You want to create a nightly reset routine. And then maybe you want to do a Friday snapshot. A Friday snapshot is very simple. It's basically, hey, this is what I got completed this week. This is what went well. This is what didn't go so well. This is how I set myself up for success. This is how I set myself up for failure. Because again, we control our actions, we control our decisions, and sometimes you make the wrong decisions, you're going to set yourself up for failure from a time or another. It's okay. It's all about learning the lesson. All right, so what I want you to do is either in the chat for my live people or replay fam, I want you to drop in the comments one habit that you're going to kill and one habit that you're going to start. Okay, let me know one habit that you're going to kill and one habit that you're going to start. All right. So next up, the next step, we are going to figure out what our actual goals are for these next 90 days, this next 12 weeks. I'm going to interchangeably say 90 days and 12 weeks because you may be doing like they're going to be the same, like as far as the time frame, give or take a couple of days, but you may decide to do it a different format. Either way, this works. Either way, what we're talking about now is going to work for you. It's going to help you. So I'm going to say them interchangeably. But for your next set of 90-day goals, or we'll say 90-day plan, or your 12-week plan, you want to decide what your goals are going to be. And so let me show you. Actually, before I show you, let's have a little chat here. because goals is a big topic around here. Everyone has their own idea of what a goal is and what it should be and what it can be and what it can't be. My school of thought is I prefer input goals versus outcome goals. I believe that there is a place for both of them, but if you put them in the wrong spot, then you're going to be disappointed every single time. When we talk about outcome goals, I see that more as a desire that I'm working towards. An outcome goal is not something that I can actually control. And that's the biggest part when it comes to, goals. You want to be sure that you understand that there are things that you can control and things that you cannot control. In my mind, it would be foolish of me to have a goal of something I can't control because I'm going to be disappointed every single time. I'm going to feel defeated, and then I'm not going to show up, and then it's just going to be a rabbit hole going downward, right? A downward spiral. And so instead, I would rather prefer put my mind on goals or things that I can do that I can actually control. And that's where input goals come into play. So outcomes, they're the scoreboard. Your inputs, those are the plays. You can run the play. The scoreboard, you can't really control that. No matter how much you pay the referee, you control the plays, not the final score. Another way that I put it is listen, my job is the inputs. My job is to do all the work that I can do. The outcome is none of my business. That's all God's business. God controls the outcomes. I don't. So it'll be foolish of me to think that I can. There is no manifesting. There is no, oh, yep, I did this. No, it's here are my inputs. This is what I can control. I can make this, I can make this play. I can make sure that, I can set my alarm for 5 a.m. or for 4 a.m. and get up. I can make sure that I work out. I can make sure that I, do those 6 follow-ups. I can make sure that I schedule five people, right? I can do all those things. What I cannot do is make the people come to me. What I cannot do is make the people pay me. What I cannot, all those things I can't do. So it'd be foolish of me in my mind. You can agree if you want to, but it would be foolish of me to put my outcome goal as as the main thing that I'm working towards. Again, it is the desire, but it's not something I can control. So I can't put a metric against that. I can just track to see, okay, what actions am I taking? What are the results of those actions? Oops. So that's my little vent, if you will, when it comes to input goals versus outcome goals. Again, your outcomes, that's the scoreboard. We do it has its place. We honor the scoreboard, but what we focus on are the inputs. Those are the plays. We run the plays, okay? So focus on the things that you can control. Now, look, this is why inputs win. Let me get this together. This is why inputs win. And let me know in the comments if you're getting what I'm saying, if you understand, if you're rocking with me, if you're saying, yep, okay, I'm with that. I understand. I'm with you. Yes, that's true. Um, or I even never thought about that. Maybe this is something new to you. Maybe this is a new concept. Let me know. But with the reason why inputs win is because they're controllable today. Again, you can control them today. You can do the thing today. Like, for instance, let's say your revenue goal is you want to make $10,000 in sales. That input goal could mean maybe you're doing 15 consult calls. Maybe you are, or 15 consult calls a week. Maybe you're doing 2 proposals. After you finish the consult call, your goal is to get 2 proposals out of those 15. Okay, well, I can work towards that. I can do I can do the work for that. I can do the invites. I can do the follow-ups, but I can't make the sales happen. It's just they happen based off of my inputs, right? Also, when it comes to input goals, you get faster feedback. Outcome goals, you're waiting until the outcome happens. You're never going to get feedback from that until it happens. But with input, what I do today, I'll get feedback from it right after I do it. So for instance, with this live stream, I'm going to get immediate feedback from this live stream. Maybe not like the second that it's done, but I'll get it faster than me waiting to see, ooh, when am I going to get 1,000 subscribers? See what I'm saying? Also, When it comes to inputs, they compound with practice. So the more you do it, the better you get at it. The better you get at it, the more the results, the more likelihood it is that you're going to get the result that you want. That's why I love input goals. And then also, it builds your confidence. Nothing builds your confidence like taking action, getting the feedback from it, continue to take the action and seeing how you improve. Yes, I got real excited about that. But like, there's nothing better than that. That is what, like, action is what builds your confidence, because you know why. You can figure out why it didn't work, why it did work, what you can do better, what you need to stop doing, what you need to start doing, all of those things. That's confidence. All right. So let's go to the iPad here. And hi, Uma. Look, let's say hi to Uma. Hey, welcome, welcome. All right. So let's go to the iPad here for a second, and I'm going to actually pull up a blank screen. Where's my notes app? Y'all seeing all kinds of little games and stuff on this iPad. I didn't have the notes app up yet, so let's do this. Okay, so let's do a new one. Here we go. All right, can we see that? Yes, we can. I'm going to add the pencil. Let's change this color. Hopefully this is making sense to you all when it comes to like the inputs versus the outcomes. Again, we want to make sure we are sticking to inputs, the stuff that we can control. And yes, this is what we like to hear. Look, let me change this real quick so you all can see what Uma is saying. I'm going to put it up one more time. There we go. Improve your goal setting strategies. Yes, we love that. Yes, we want to improve it. We want to improve it. All right. So let's go back to the iPad. All right. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to do a couple of different things here. So we're going to do an example of sample outcome goals that you may have. And I just like writing on my iPad. So we're going to talk about the focus area, a sample outcome goal for it. Because again, if you don't know what an outcome goal looks like and you don't know what an input goal looks like, you may be making an outcome goal thinking it's an input goal and you be upset. So we want to provide some clarity. I was about to put income goal. Okay, listen, do you know where my mind is at? Oh goodness. Okay, so input goal. There we go. Okay, so for the first one, we'll say that it is, like I said before, maybe it's a revenue goal. Maybe in your business, you are wanting to target a certain amount. Maybe you want to make 10K in sales in the 90 days, right? That's your outcome goal. Now, it's fine for you to have that as an outcome goal, but that outcome goal is not going to be what we're focused on. That is just the desire you're working towards, okay? Now, your input goal, hear me on this, your input goal is going to be the things that you can do. Things that you can do, all right? And so this would be, well, how many calls are you going to do? Let's say you're going to do 15 consult calls per week. That's something that you can track. Let's say you're going to do, I don't know, 3 proposals. Or you're going to attempt to get 3 proposals again, because we understand and we can't control everything. So our goal is to get 3 proposals each week. Okay? So that would be one example. Let's do another one. Another one would be maybe you have an audience goal. So you're on social media, you're building up your personal brand, and maybe on YouTube you want 1,000 subscribers. Okay. So if you want 1,000 subscribers, again, that's the outcome goal. This is what we want. This is what we're striving for. This is what we're looking towards. This is great. We want to make sure it stays in its place. An outcome goal is not something that we're going to be looking at every single day. Okay. So, outcome goal, this is what we're working towards. Now, with the input goal, we will say, well, if I want 1,000 subscribers within the next 90 days, again, 90 days, then let me see, or not even let me see, and not even let me try. We don't want to see, we don't want to try, we want to commit to taking the action. So that action would be, okay, I am going to commit to 3 posts per week. And also, you want to be very specific. So if we say 1,000 subscribers, like on what platform? So we're going to say YouTube. You want to be very specific. Even if you like in your mind know, well, I knew what I meant when I said it, you still want to write it down in plain English, as if nobody, like, as if somebody came and just saw it, then they would be able to know exactly what you're talking about. You want it to be that plain, okay? So maybe you do 3 posts per week. You're going to do 1 live stream a week and 1 newsletter per week. Now, this is what you are committing to. Now, sometimes you may have extra energy, extra time. You never know. You can, bump it up a little bit. That's fine. But just understand what your baseline is, because your baseline is what you're tracking. Like, it's what you're using to track, right? So that's the first, that's the second one. We're going to do one more. We're going to do one more. For this one, we will do consistency, because how many of us struggle a little with the consistency bus, or we feel like we struggle with the consistency? Let me know if you feel like you struggle with consistency. I'm going to put you in, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You don't struggle with consistency. You're consistent with the things you want to be consistent with. You're consistent with being inconsistent with the things you don't want to be consistent with. But say that you want to be consistent, or say that you need to be consistent with it. This is a realization I had to come to with myself. I will hold your hand in support. We're going to become consistent in the things that we both want to and need to be consistent with in order to get our, in order to get our goals accomplished. All right. All right. So for consistency, let's say you want to feel less scattered. As a former scatterbrain, because I used to struggle with being scatterbrained, that would be the main reason why I couldn't carry out the plans that I would make. I can make beautiful plans. They'd be gorgeous, okay? Organized, neatly written, all of these things. But if it's a lot going on up here and you don't have clarity, you're never going to take the action that you need to take. So we want to make sure that we are putting ourselves in a good position to take the action. So if we want to feel less scattered so that we can be most consistent, more consistent with the things that we need to be consistent with and want to be consistent with, we need to put some things in place. So our input goals, in order to feel less scattered, let's see here. We're going to have a weekly meeting. And I like to call these weekly momentum meetings, because you're going to take stock in the actions that you've taken for that week. Okay. Now, with those weekly momentum meetings, the reason why they're important is because you're taking time to sit down, close off the world for a little bit, and you're able to look at your planner and say, okay, these are the actions I said I needed to do this week. I set them all out. It's very clear, step by step, a nice checklist, right? Once we do that checklist, we know on Monday, let me look at my checklist. Did I do this? Did I do this? Check it off, check it off, check it off. By the time Friday or Saturday comes around, we look at that list in our weekly momentum meetings. And we determine, out of the 5 checks, or out of the 5 things on the list, how many did we complete? We get our percentage and we know what our score is for that week. That helps us lead into the next week. This is something that is done in the 12-week year. Now, it's said a little bit differently, but when you boil it all down to it, that's what it is. Okay. So, your weekly momentum, you want to make sure you do that every week. You don't miss this meeting. Even if you didn't get anything accomplished, your score will be 0, but you still need to put a score on that scoreboard. Remember, outcome goal is our scoreboard. If it's 92, if it's 92. If it's 0, it's 0. Okay. So another thing, what else do I need, or what else can I do? What else will I commit to doing in order to feel less scattered? Another thing can be that, I block off time on my calendar. Now, with this particular step, this input goes a little vague for me. I don't want to just put I don't want to just put block off time on calendar. That's not enough for me. Like, how many blocks am I going to put on the calendar? How long are these blocks? So let's say they're 3, and they're 3, let's say 60-minute blocks. Because I know my capacity. That's going to be something you'll want to be mindful of. You want to know what your capacity is within a week. If you don't know, I do have a video on my channel, and it's under videos. It's not a live stream, it's a video, and it is called something about time audits. But it's talking about time audits. Walk you straight through the process of a time audit. It's very simple. But I would recommend doing a time audit where you track your time for an entire week. That way you can not only know what your week typically looks like in terms of capacity, but also you will be able to track your energy levels throughout that week. That's going to be important to know when it comes to executing. We'll get more into that as we move along through this series. But yes, so we want to feel less scattered. We're going to have a weekly momentum meeting. We are going to block off 3 60-minute calendar blocks so that we can work on, whatever it is we need to work on. In my case, I would say I would do 60 minutes to work in and on the business. Okay. And then I'll put one more on here, and that will be to have proof of execution. If that means I need to take a screenshot of me doing something, if that means I need to do, because like we're in the age of content, right? We're in a lot of ages right now, but we're in content world. So if that means I'm doing a time lapse of me working on something, that's proof. I'm going to take that as proof. So look, and then you can put like a nice little song over it, some words. That's 2 birds, maybe 17 birds with one stone. Just saying. Record yourself doing some work. That way you get off your phone. So your phone's not a distraction. You can focus on your work. Everybody's happy. All right. So this is an example of how you would kind of figure out what that outcome goal is and what that input goal is. Now notice I only did 3. That would be the max I would recommend you focus on when it comes to creating a 90-day plan. Now, remember, in this 90-day plan, it's not just about what you're doing here. Don't forget you got a whole life going on. So you have to keep that in mind when it comes to capacity. What can you realistically, with a little pressure and push, do? Now, there are some mistakes that I've made when it comes to creating these things. I'm going to share them with you here in just a second. Uma, I am glad that this live is perfect timing for you. Listen, when I tell you I get excited about talking about these things, this live wasn't supposed to be this long, and you can see how excited I am. So yes, I am glad that this is working out for you, and that this is like, yes, you said input and output is so much better than lead and lag. Yes. Yes. Now, I will say this, lead and lag, they do have, they have their places, but like you said, like I like phrasing it with input versus output. That way I know, okay, input, that's what I'm responsible for. Output, God, that's on you. That ain't none of my business. But this is what I want. But if it's not in your plans, I I have no choice but to accept it. But this is what I'm working towards. And maybe what I'm working towards is thinking too small. I'm good with that too. Okay. I'm good with that. Look, expand my mind. Look, my mind is a territory too. So expand it by all means. Okay. So listen, Next up, we're going to talk about some lessons that I've learned because I don't want you all to make the same mistakes that I've made. And if you've already made them, then listen, join me in letting the others know, don't do this. Okay. So, one of the mistakes that I made, and I had to write them down so I can keep myself on track. So, one of the mistakes that I made when it comes to doing both 90-day planning, goal setting all together, and the 12-week year, the first one is I planned a fantasy week. Okay. And not on purpose. Like when it says plan your ideal week, I planned a fantasy week because I thought that I had all the time in the world. I thought I had the attention. I thought I had the focus of, I don't even know. I don't even know. Something that has a whole, like, I thought I had the focus. Here's a funny. I thought I had the focus of a Frenchie who is waiting for a treat. I know this, I know that life. My dog Titus, like when it comes to like you tell him treat or you have a treat in front of his face, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You can sit there, pick him up, and turn him upside down. His eyes are not going to go off of that treat. I thought I had that kind of focus. Not even close. I thought I had, look, just forever energy. Nope. The fix that I did when it came to planning a fantasy week and failing every week that I planned that fantasy week is I sized my planning to my capacity. So I had to do that time audit. I had to review my calendar often. I had to make sure that I was considering both the responsibilities at work, the responsibilities at home, things that were coming down the pipeline, all those things, in addition to business. And then also, look, me, myself, and I, and then me and husband, me and son, all of us together, all these things. You have to think of everything when you are planning. And it can seem like it's overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. It's just make sure that you have, white space in your calendar. And what that basically means is nothing is scheduled there. Or maybe you block off white space. That's a thing too. Give me a second, guys. I am needing to drink some water. All right. So thank you. But yes, you want to plan your week, like plan it in the worst case scenario. Like plan it as if it is super packed. When you initially plan as if it's like, the busiest week ever. That way, when you add on additional things, you'll see how much space and how much time you actually have to work with. Okay. And if you have more time, then that's bonus. That's great. So that was the first mistake. The second mistake that I have made is I tracked only revenue in my business. Okay. This is a rookie of rookie mistakes. When it came to my business goals, I only tracked revenue. If it wasn't revenue, it didn't matter. If it wasn't revenue, I thought, it doesn't matter. The only number that matters is the dollar sign that's coming in. Nope, not true. I needed to know my numbers because knowing your numbers, knowing the data leads to knowing the data, if you know what I mean. Knowing how the numbers are going to come in, knowing how the revenue is going to come in because you have the other numbers to back it. Like you need to know your conversion rate. You need to know what your KPIs are. You need to know like how many invites did you do? How many sales calls did you do? How many follow ups did you make? How many lives did you do? How many reviews did you have? How many testimonials do you have? All of these things, all of these numbers. How many customers? How many things have you fulfilled? All of these things, you need to track every single number in your business. If nothing else, the data gives you access to a better decision. Okay? The data is going to give you access to the better decision. I treated my revenue as if it was a lever, and it is not. The levers are those invites, those sales calls, the follow ups, the lives that I did, the content that I produced, the conversion rates, the KPIs for whatever, right? These are the things that you want to track. These are the things that you want to make sure that you're being mindful of, okay? Now, the third mistake is I skipped the weekly review. This is why I tell you, and this is why I say it's hard. Don't skip this review. If you skip this review, everything's going to go downhill. Okay. don't skip the weekly review. Like, I didn't manage my calendar. I didn't manage my efforts. I didn't manage, like, I would do the work, but wouldn't check off that I did the work because I wasn't looking at my calendar. It was like, I know what the checklist says. I know what I need to do. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Don't do that. Don't be me. Don't be past me. Don't do that. Don't do that. You want to go ahead and have, like, check it every week. Check it every day. It takes 10 minutes for you to check off what you did and what you didn't do. So, like, have a 10-minute quick calendar meeting, planner meeting check, and then have your weekly momentum meeting every weekend, whether it's Friday or Saturday, or maybe you do it on Sunday because maybe you did some work on Saturday. So have it, just make it a part of your planning process. You're going to review what you did last week and move into the next week. Do it every week, guys. Do it every week, right? Okay. Now, the last mistake that I'm going to share, because I made a lot of them. We're not going to go through all of them tonight. But the last mistake that I'm going to share is I focused on too many platforms. I wanted to be anywhere and everywhere, and I did nothing. I was trying to be everywhere. It's like, oh, let me try this. Oh, let me try that. And not really leaning into what I actually enjoyed doing, what I actually, like, fired me up to do, like what lit me up. Like live streams, this is my jam. I love talking to y'all. Whether you're on the replay or live, I love talking. Oma, hey girl. I love talking to y'all, okay? When it comes to the lives, I don't know, it's something about live stream that just makes me really, really excited because it's like we're talking to each other, even though like y'all not on there, like on the screen with me yet. But you're in the comments, you're in the chat, you're, engaging. I love engaging with people. So yeah, I was trying to be everywhere, and didn't really get much done. And because I was trying to be everywhere, my mind was being ran ragged. I would create the content, but I wasn't posting, or I'd get half the content done, but not the other half. And so it just really wore me out. So the fix to that is to just choose one. Just fix your focus on one. Just choose one. Just choose one platform and put all of your love and energy into that one platform. Your people will find you on that one platform. Build it up, make it great, then you can distribute out to other places. So, my one is YouTube. And to be even more specific, my one is YouTube live stream. Because what you will notice is I have a lot more live streams than I do videos. I figured out real quickly the static video life, that's not for me. I like live stream, so I'm going to stick with live stream. All right. So now let's get into like the beginning works of starting the actual plan, and then we're going to get out of here. All right, guys. So for your next 7 days, this is what I would encourage you to do. I want you to pick one objective, pick one outcome goal that you want to focus on. If it's a revenue goal, write it down. If it is an audience goal, write it down. If it's an engagement goal, if it is, a consistency goal, write it down. Write that down. And then I want you to pick 3 input goals that's going to help you get closer to that outcome goal. So remember, your input goals, we are setting the stage so that the outcome goals will have a place to sit. Let's put it that way. Put that visual in your mind. We're setting the stage so when the outcome comes, it has a stage to come and grab its award and say its speech. All right. And then you want to also be mindful of any blockers that may come up. So if you have any constraints, any limitations that you see that could happen. So if your outcome goal is to feel less scatterbrain, your input goals is the weekly momentum meeting, to block off time on the calendar, and proof of execution. But you can see, well, what if I forget to do, maybe I forget to do proof of execution. So I forget to do the time lapse of me working or to take a photo of what I did. Maybe it's I forgot to block off this time and now the time is booked up. Maybe it's, oh, I forgot to do the weekly momentum meeting. figure out what can you do to mitigate that from happening. What can you do to keep that from happening, to keep that from being a blocker? Maybe it's put an alarm. Maybe it is go ahead and schedule the things right now while you're sitting down and you're doing this exercise. Maybe it is phone a friend. Hey, can we set up a meeting every Sunday morning or every Sunday afternoon? And all we need to do is just go through our planner. You don't even have to go through your planner. You can just listen to me go through my planner. I would greatly appreciate it. Bam. There's your weekly momentum meeting, right? Maybe it's that you are joining a community and that's what's going to help you stay consistent. You can do that too. That is an option. That's going to be something that's going to help you with the limitations that may come up or the blockers that may come up to keep you from that particular goal. Then you also want to make sure you block off this time. So I would say, like, place like 3 calendar blocks that are hmm, that are like 60 minutes, 30 to 60 minutes each week, and make it where it's a time and an amount, because 30 minutes or 60 minutes or even more, make it where it's a time that you can hit at least 80% of the time. So if we're looking at 12 weeks, you're looking at like, can you hit it 9 to 10 out of the 12 weeks? Like there's grace, right? There's grace. But you want to make sure they just want to drive up and down this road like it's a racetrack. I don't know if y'all heard that. But you want to make sure that you have that in place, so that you can put yourself in a spot where you sit down and you actually do the work. Whatever work it is that you have to do, give yourself, like, create the environment where you can do the work. All right. And then lastly, you want to choose what I call your finish 5 for this week and the 2 wins. So what are, the 2 to 5 wins that you want to have, that you want to accomplish? Like, write those down, and then that way you know what you're working towards. And those 2 to 5 wins can be, actually anything that you put on your input goal side. Like, if it is 3 posts per week, hey, I did 2 out of 3, that's a win. If it is a live a week, I did the live this week, that's a win. If it is a newsletter per week, I did the newsletter this week, cool, that's another win. That's 3 wins. Track your wins. You want to track your effort. You can track your effort in a simple spreadsheet. You can track your effort in a checklist, whatever. Whatever the case is, you'll be able to track it. And also, let me show you all this because I have it up. So if you look more into, and you can grab the clarity map. All you gotta do is click on the link that's in the description box below. But we have all of this already kind of organized for you, where you're figuring out what your priorities are, what done looks like, what those milestones are, the 3 big tasks, and your Friday review. And that Friday review doesn't have to be Friday, it can be Saturday. This is editable. Did I say that right? You can edit this. So yeah, you can edit this, and it's a quick document. You can make it your own, but it just gives you the bones to what we're talking about here. Because as we go through this session, as we continue to go through this series, it's going to get more and more in depth. We're going to get more granular with some of the things. So that is definitely an option for you to pick up. Again, you can pick it up by clicking on the link that is in the description box below. And yeah, that is it. So I want you to be able to, even if it's tonight, just sit down, write down your why, write down what the big outcome goal is, write down 3 input goals that you're going to have that moves you closer or moves the needle closer to completing your 90-day plan. Um, and I think that's going to be a good start for you. I think that's going to be a good start. Let me know if this is a good start for you. Uma said this will make 90 days planning so much easier. Good, because listen, there's enough content out there that's going to have you doing 75 crazy spreadsheets. Oh goodness, because I know this because I am one who had 95 about 95 crazy spreadsheets. So yeah, it gets real out there. But I just like to keep things as simple as possible. Uma, I'm glad that you love the template. I hope you grab it in the description box below. And yeah, the only thing left is to, like, do the work. Unless you want November, unless you want November to look like today, do the work. Let me know in the chat if you're, well, yeah, let me know in the comments if this was helpful. Let me know in the chat if this was helpful. Um, if this was encouraging for you, if this was inspiring for you, if you have like it's not as intimidating. I know sometimes goal setting can be intimidating. And is and this isn't necessarily like, the goal setting season per se, but I like to set things up because by the time you finish this 12-week year, we'll be hitting the end of the year, and that's when it's really gonna test you, right? Because we get all happy when it comes to December, when it comes to planning stuff, and then by January we didn't fell off. So this is a good primer so that you can close the year off strong, you can finish the year off strong, and you can continue to build that momentum. As you build the momentum, it's going to be easier for you to execute. You don't want to stop the momentum that you build up, all right? So, again, if you haven't already, click the subscribe and the like button for me so you won't miss another live stream. And yeah, I'm going to see you all on Thursdays when we're going to do this Thursday night thing, y'all. Thursday nights 8 p.m. It's going to be just enough time for us to, chill in the evening before we start our nightly reset routine. Don't forget to create that reset routine, okay? Let me do this again. Hold on, Uma, because I want everybody to see this. There we go. This was very helpful, made things so much less overwhelming. You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Listen, we love these things, okay? We love talking about planning, talking about executing. That is the thing. We talk about executing too. Executing is more important than the planning part. We can build the plane in the air now. We can build the plane in the air, but we got to get in the air. That's the part.